Most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone. I'm feeling.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vogt.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes. Claps all around. Episode 274. Yes, we are feeling good. We're having a great time and a lot to be happy about today. So, without further ado, I am your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way in St. Cloud, Minnesota, at Granite City Studios, Paul Volta Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
You know, there is no better time right now than to say, man, I am proud to be an American, especially from the sense of how we closed out the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympics in grand fashion in many, many ways for sure. But boy, was it good to wake up bright and early on a Sunday and not be disappointed like we have in the past, especially for those that are covered in purple and in gold.
That is right. That was one heck of a game for the U.S. men's, like Voldy said. 2-1 OT win over Canada. But it wasn't just the men's team. It was the women's team as well, winning 2-1 in OT against who? Oh, Canada, yes. A lot to discuss tonight. Concerning both those games, we are filled with pride, and it was absolutely a great Olympics if you are not only, USA, but a hockey fan in general. Both awesome games, awesome teams, a lot to discuss in regards to that. That's where we're starting with Tater Tot Hot Take tonight, and we'll give you a little surprise here to start things off when we start Hot Take. So keep your eye on everything happening here because we got a lot to talk about. But focusing on those Minnesota sports athletes who won gold. Claps out to them. I'm not going to list everybody, but there's, Boldy, Quinn Hughes, Taylor Heisey. The list goes on and on and on and on. So we will talk about that. So congrats to them, and it sounds like they're getting back with their teams, getting ready for the second halves of their season. So we're looking forward to seeing that. And not only that, but it is the NFL Combine. A lot of chatter from the Vikings. A lot of people having some opinions on what they should do at quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, is he ready? Is he not? Do people hate him? Do people love him? I don't know. There's just a lot of misinformation, and we'll talk about it. So we'll talk about that. And then tonight we are hitting Infinity Rankings, and we're going to talk about those off-season position needs for the Minnesota Vikings as of right now. A lot can happen between now and then because free agency's coming up, combine's going on. There's a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot to talk about with the Vikings. But ARA is stacked tonight. Voldy's got a stacked ARA. JoeRyan gets scratched from the lineup. He gets an MRI with a back issue. Not good. I mean, just when you think it can't get any worse, it gets worse. We'll talk about that, and then the Bears. Mitch, I this one's more for Mitch. Bears heading to Indiana. What is going on in Chicago/Indiana? What is going on? There's a lot to discuss on
What
this.
is happening?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. The next one, too, I mean, Shedeur and Deshaun Watson. Is it going to be a QB competition here this offseason between the Browns and with the Browns and Watson and Sanders? I don't know. We'll see. Sean Payton finally waves the white flag, gives up play calling duties. Oh, I bet that didn't feel good, did it? I bet that didn't feel good. And you know what? I'm loving every second of it. We'll see how that turns out. The UFL, Voldy, adding rules for field goals, punts for 2026. You had some thoughts on it on the socials. I did see that. Not a fan, Bob, apparently, right? If I'm not mistaken. We'll talk about that a little later. And also Shield shoutouts. Got to get to some Shield shoutouts tonight. So, without further ado, we got to get going with Tater Tot Hot Take. We're not going to keep you waiting any longer, so let's get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it is time for some Tater Tot Hot Take. But, we got to do something a little different here because, there was a big games were happening this past weekend with the Olympics. Just an absolute awesome time. So let's go to the clips, shall we, Voldy? Yes, that is a cheat sheet that you don't need to see. Just kidding. But take a look.
The outlet pass for Keller, a defenseman. Nice move, cuts to the net, score! Now Jack Hughes puts it around McCarr. United States with numbers. Walk across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it! The goal for the United States!
Huge.
And as Kirk Cousins has famously said on this show and everywhere else, my question to the Canadians is,
You like that? You like that?
do you like that? I think, I mean, obviously they don't, but still, it is what it is. So, Voldy, the women's team gets gold in OT against Canada. The men's team gets gold against the Canadians as well. Voldy, what are your thoughts on both the games? What are your overall thoughts? What did you love about it? Anything else you want to add about that game? And the zoners, we throw that out to you as well. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Well, ultimately, as the saying goes, sometimes the better team doesn't always win the game. And in this case, it was, on the women's side, very even. I felt like you could feel a little bit more pressure coming from the Canadian side of things, especially as desperation really started to kick in. They tie things up there with just a couple of minutes to go in regulation, and they ultimately get a break. The 3-on-3 hockey aspect of overtime now is something that is different than in past overtime periods for, of course, international competition as well. Of course, taking a page out of the NHL's book to go with the 3-on-3, thus leading to quicker results. Some people not really a big fan of it. I don't mind it. A winner is decided. Sometimes it doesn't need to take 4, 5, 27 overtimes like we saw in a youth game a couple weeks ago here in Minnesota, which was only 12 overtimes. But the fact that we got that far was just ridiculous in any sense. But the women's game was great. You've seen how the growth of the women's game internationally and of course now domestically with the PWHL has shined a whole new light to, of course, all the great players from these from these different countries that obviously come here and play professionally, but also can represent their country as well on the international stage. I mean, that U.S.-Canada rivalry on the women's side is certainly no love lost between those two programs for sure. A lot of those players, if they aren't playing with or against each other on the professional level, certainly have been going at it for quite a number of years internationally. Now for the men's side of things. Early on, you felt, of course, with the U.S. getting up early in that game with Matt Boldy, a great play as well. He got a great step and a great breakout as well to make it 1-0. But then second period, it was all Canada at that point. I mean, the U.S. was definitely just chasing their own tail for sure and just trying to get anything going. But Canada was just peppering and piling on shots. And then ultimately when they get to the tying goal at that point, it was anybody's game at that point, even with multiple chances for Canada to take a decisive lead. And they very easily could have been up 4-5-1 at one point, even in that third period alone. But a lot of great saves and a lot of great opportunities, missed chances by Canada. Great defensive play as well from the likes of Charlie McAvoy. I mean, Hellebuck with that unreal paddle save on top of it too. I mean, there's just so many things that went right for the U.S. that you just knew that something was going to give, especially when you throw in the fact that late in that third period, the kiss of death that it should have been with that 5-on-3 that Canada had that was made a 5-on-3 by Jack Hughes that thought, okay, they're going to score. They're going to take the lead. And the U.S. is going to have to find a way to rally from that point. But huge defensive play overall on special teams. U.S. didn't give a power play goal, did not give one up the entire tournament. None whatsoever. Did not give up a single power play goal the entire tournament. And that just speaks to the fact of the resiliency and just how this team, I've said it all the way from the beginning, the selection of the U.S. team from the Four Nations up until this point. When it comes to picking a team, sure, you can have all your best players, but that doesn't mean they're all the right players. You've got your superstars, but then you got to have guys that fill in some of the smaller pieces. Guys that are going to go in the corners and win puck battles. Guys that are going to break up, puck lanes. Guys that are going to work on penalty kill. Guys that are special teams, are monsters as well. Strong goaltending on top of it. Offensive defensemen, forwards that take a defensive-minded approach on top of it. That was the nucleus of Team USA, just all these different guys falling into pieces. Of course, a lot of those guys, best players on their team, if not certainly at the top, but now settling in, knowing the fact, okay, I'm probably not going to be the number one player on the power play, but let me go fill a role here so that way we can win a gold medal. That's what the U.S. had as the right formula, led by Billy G, Bill Guerin, and that is ultimately why they got the gold medal, while Team Canada on the other side, sure, I would say probably about 80% of their team was superstars. The last 20%, couple of role play guys that can definitely score and make plays too, but it was too top heavy. Too many guys that say, I'm going to score the game winner, I'm going to be the hero, and not enough guys saying, let me make a play here to at least set up the other guy and help my team win.
Well said. A lot I want to pick your brain at, too, with specifically some comments made after the game as well by Canada. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to give my thoughts here real quick. And then, Zoners, let us know in the chats, either Facebook or YouTube. We are live on Facebook right now, in case you were wondering. Hello. Yes. So we got a lot to talk about with that. So let's start with the women. First off, claps out to both teams. Again, I mean, look, everything has been dominated in regards to hockey by Canada, right? We can all agree on that. Like, Canada's been very good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's been impressive and everything like that. But regimes have to fall at some point, and they did for Canada. And I look at the women's game and how they have really come on, especially women's hockey in general, how awesome the sport has become. They're adding more teams to the PWHL, and more people are having eyes on it. Shouts out to Taylor Heisey, too, who was phenomenal in these games. Not only her, but Abby Murphy, who plays for the Gophs. Not only that, I mean, there's just so many Minnesota connections. All the ladies that were playing on this team, I mean, were nothing short of incredible, especially against the Canadians. One person I think that we really need to shout out here too, Megan Keller. That move she put on the defender, oh my God, that was amazing. That was just, I mean, she dangled, and then, I mean, the shot, was the shot perfect? No, but it was just enough. It was just enough so that it just go eke right by, and she got it done, and that is the main thing. I mean, it's just awesome to see nonetheless, and just how well they played these whole games. And they, I know they beat Canada earlier in the games too. Didn't they beat them like 5-0 or something like that, the U.S.? And then in this game, obviously, it was a little bit tougher, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look it up. But they were outstanding, absolutely outstanding. They were 6-1 and no losses or anything. I mean, obviously the OT winner that you have, I mean, that is incredible, absolutely incredible. Canada, I just think kind of realized, oh man, okay, people are catching up to us. This isn't great. But, I mean, the pure joy that you saw from those, from the U.S. Women's was just awesome. Hillary Knight was great. Layla Edwards, obviously. I mean, they were the talk of the town. And, we're going to talk about the 3-on-3 here in a second. But, congrats out to the ladies. So let's get to the men here.
Yep.
46 years, Voldy. 46 years to the day, the same day, generally, that the U.S. won gold.
To the
day! Yes! And you know what's interesting to me, Voldy, is that it just seemed like all the stars were aligned again, right? Like, no pun intended. But it just showed, like, oh my gosh, the Illuminati, that's right, Illuminati, it's real. You never know what could happen. But it's crazy to me because Mike Eruzione, this whole time, I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews, he's like, this is the team to do it. This is the team to do it. They're gonna get it done, and I'm just like, I hope he's right, and everything like that. And boy, was he ever. This team was, I mean, they worked as one. They anytime they screwed up, everyone picked up each other. The camaraderie was, you could tell, and not only just them, but the women's team as well. The camaraderie that all those guys had on that team was nothing short of remarkable. And they they did something that all the previous teams, they've come close. They lost, in the to Canada in the silver, and they get silver there. And it's like, it's like, God, we need to beat these guys. And this was the prime opportunity. And boy, did they capitalize. Now, I know the Canadians, it seemed to everybody that, Canadians outplayed them. But in this game, how many times, Voldy, how many times have we said on this show and in Sports Zone Pass about, well, the Wild outplayed this team, but they still lost 2-1. This is what happened here.
Happens all the time.
I mean, it goes from okay, they're being outplayed, they're not sinking their shots. Well, you got to sink your shots. If you can't put it in the net, it doesn't matter, right? So now we're on the other side of the coin. Like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. I mean, Jack Hughes. Obviously, the penalty didn't help. He's the one that caused it. 5-on-3, the whole deal. But it's never over when you're on that 5-on-3. They're attacking in your zone, and you hold them. You hold one of the best, the best of the best in the NHL, and you hold them to nothing, zero, zilch. That's impressive. And the game winner, I mean, my eyes were glued to the TV. I mean, I didn't get to the second quarter. I know I missed the first period. I missed Boldy's goal, so I know. But still.
I did too.
Oh, okay.
I did too. I was asleep.
But, we got to get our sleep. But.
Yeah, I thought I'd get up bright and early, but I was asleep, so.
Yeah, it is what it is. But Matt Boldy, his goal. He's just going right through the Twin Towers there, and he buried it. Just an absolute awesome goal from him, and it's just like, dang, just imagine this second half of the season for the Wild. Like, if he could keep doing stuff like that, watch out.
He opened a lot of eyes this tournament in that Boldy. And on that play specifically, too, the defensemen were caught in no man's land. One guy's going off for a chin, the other guy is like, okay, do I play the puck? Do I play the player? And at that point, he's already lost at that point. And the fact that all Boldy did was just flip it forward 2.5, 3 feet in front of him, and he just goes right between and then shoots right past Binnington was just perfect. It was all effort on that play. And it just feels so much better that it was Binnington in net, because I hate that guy. Hate that guy so goddamn much. I don't know why. I just don't like his stupid face. Binnington is trash.
It's your face. I just can't stand it. What he played really well in the Four Nations, right? He shut.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, sadly, and that's why I say sad. Obviously, sadly, like you said. But the thing that I look at is how well Hellebuck played. I mean, you could throw all the flowers you want to, Hughes with the game-winning goal and everything like that. But and I think the players even said so too. Like, hey, Helly was the guy, and that save he made on who was it again? Was it Taves? Was it Taves? Not Jonathan Taves, obviously. Other Taves guy.
Devon Taves, yes.
Yeah, So he makes that save, and they're like, oh, they should have buried it. Yeah, they should have buried it, but guess what? You just got shut down. It don't matter. USA it for gold. That's all I got to say. No. So anyway, I think Hellebuck deserves a lot of credit. The coaching staff, obviously Coach Hines, their chief, and Billy G. Voldy, I think we talked about it on the show. When he was putting this squad together, there were a lot of people that were upset because he didn't put on like a Cole Caulfield. He didn't put on guys like guys like Cole Caulfield and everything like that. He built it in his vision, and guess what? They executed, and he was right. So people have to, give out claps to Billy G for assembling this team to win this game,
Absolutely.
especially to beat those Canadians. So, speaking of those Canadians, by the way, Voldy, Nathan MacKinnon, not, obviously, I think you saw the whole, they're all getting the silver medal. They're getting the stuffed toy. He wasn't overly thrilled with that from what I saw on the socials and whatnot. He said that I'll let you decide who outplayed who in that game. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he wasn't too happy, to say the least. His comments here, first of all, he shouldn't be the one talking, to be quite honest. And not only his comments, but then the coach of the Canadians and everything, 3-on-3 stuff and complaining about it. Look, just take your L and move on. I mean, honestly, you guys have been winning all these gold medals before. You can't take a loss? Come on. You guys, I'm sorry, you lost. That's all I can say. Hellebuck made 41 saves on you guys, and you guys couldn't bury him. Nathan MacKinnon, you had a wide open net, and you missed. You had your chance,
breakaway,
and you blew it. So this isn't like, oh, we outplayed them. Yeah, you might have outplayed them, but guess what? You didn't win. That's all we can really say. So, Voldy, what are your thoughts on just all this stuff with Nathan MacKinnon? What are your thoughts?
That's petty. It really is. I mean, you really see sheer pettiness out of him, especially when things aren't going right. But when things are going good, you don't hear a lot out of Nathan MacKinnon. So it just really shows the fact and shows his true colors of how petty he really is. He's a Stanley Cup champion. Yeah, that's great. And yes, he was probably looked over as being captain for the for Team Canada. When Crosby went down, they went right to McDavid. And I'm sure he felt a little bit slighted by that, or at least I would certainly think that he would have been. But it's unfortunate because of the fact that, I lost a little bit more respect out of Nathan MacKinnon. I think he's a hell of a player for sure, and definitely is certainly feared in the NHL, and especially when it comes to how the Avs have been the last, 7-8 years. And, of course, them winning a championship too, winning a Stanley Cup. But now I'm going to think a little bit less of Nathan MacKinnon now, and just, you take your L, you suffer in silence, and go away. Go back to Colorado and get ready for the second half of the season.
The issue that I have with it, and I know, the emotions of the game, like right after a game, you're upset. Like, I get it. Like, you're not thrilled with how everything went and whatnot, but you could have stopped Jack Hughes on that. On the 3-on-3, and then you guys complain about the 3-on-3 when you guys were in OT against who did they play in OT? I think it was it wasn't Sweden. It was somebody else, Slovakia or Czechia, maybe one of those squads. Look,
no, it was Slovakia.
Slovakia, thank you. You guys knew this going into these games, and then you guys say, "Oh well, they can't do this 3-on-3." I don't get what they're bitching about. I mean, that's my thing. Like, I don't understand why you guys are sitting and crying about it. Look, and don't give me that BS about Sidney Crosby didn't play. It wouldn't have made a difference. I don't think it would have made a difference that much. I think, obviously having the vet around is nice, but I don't think he would have made that much of a difference. It doesn't matter. Look, they had their chances. That's all I can really say. And guess what? The U.S. capitalized on all of those chances. So get your tissue, dry those tears and everything like that, Nathan MacKinnon and some of these Canadian hockey players, and get ready for 2030, okay? Don't be complaining about it. Exactly. Use it as fuel for the next Olympics and everything, and just focus on your NHL team right now. Look, it winning and losing, it happens. Trust me, we're Vikings fans. We know everything about losing, winning, and heartbreak. All right? We know what it's like. We're used to it. So congratulations to the USA women's team and the men's team for winning the gold medal. It's golden up in the U.S. of A. So, last thing I want to ask you, Voldy, and then we'll move on to our Vikings here.
Yeah,
but
one more thing we got to talk. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One more thing I got to ask you. Is the U.S., and I'm saying this for both squads, is the U.S. now the ones, and not the twos, but the ones for the foreseeable future? Yeah! They the twos, USA the ones, baby. So how do you look at the USA hockey in general going forward here for these in the future? Are they going to be kind of the new dynasty per se? What do you think?
No, I think this just is really a culmination of things that we've seen over the last 10 plus years. I think from the point of TJ Oshie winning the shootout against Russia in 2014, moving up through the ranks, all these guys that we see that are now starting to come into, if not already in their prime, of the Kachuk brothers, of a Quinn brothers, of a Vincent Trocheck, of a, all these guys on Team USA, some of the younger guys maybe making their way in the late 20s into the early 30s. These guys have grown up watching Team USA not perform to the highest of levels, and now they're the ones resetting the bar here for the future generations. And I know over the last couple of years, a lot of people have really been saying, watch out, the U.S. is on their way. And here we are at this point. Now, I would certainly say that the U.S. certainly does have that chance to run the table for sure if they don't let it go to their heads. Yes, you enjoy the fact that you took gold medal first time in 46 years, but now it's all back to the drawing board and we start back all over again 4 years from now. I mean, of course, defending the gold medal, but of course, we got another Four Nations face-off coming up here in a couple of years. But right now, it's all about enjoying the moment. But I feel with Canada especially, they've got some guys coming up through the ranks here that'll certainly be very interesting to see. Macklin Celebrini's not getting any younger or getting any older at this point. He's still fairly young. Connor Bedard was a scratch off the team as well. He didn't make the Olympic roster cut. Be very interesting to see what the Canada roster looks like in 4 years for sure.
And, I almost forgot to mention this, but let's talk about it. I mean, Jack Hughes took a high stick to the face. Man, that thing looked painful. And obviously, seeing the aftermath, poor guy is going to – hopefully he's getting it all fixed and what. And it sounded like he's like, yeah, I got to get my smile back and everything. It's like, well, yeah, when you're dating Tate McRae, I'd assume that
Bingo!
You got to fix that smile, Yeah.
Blood, baby.
So listen, and I know why Canada's salty. I get it. Jack Hughes took your girl, and then she had that commercial that was more pro USA. Not Canada.
No, we lost Tate McRae. Yeah.
I had to bring it up, and I'm just saying, it's just how it is, man. It has been great for Canada. They're complaining about 3-on-3. They lose the game. They lose Tate McRae. Listen, there's always the next Olympics, as they said in Happy Gilmore. But yeah. And here's what I'm gonna say one last time, and we're gonna move on to Vikings, but. Canada, the twos, and USA, the ones. Yeah! The ones. Acknowledge the USA hockey. That's right. Sorry I had to do that because, we have the social medias post, and the whole deal with that. So they the twos, we the ones. That's all we got to say. So congratulations, gold medal, gold all around. We love it. All right, Voldy, the NFL Combine is going on, and there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk in regards to Rob Brzezinski, KOC, J.J. McCarthy. Look, everyone's asking about it. Everyone's wondering what they're doing, and the consensus is they're looking at all their options, and as they should be. KOC kind of said that the timeline has kind of, been readjusted and everything, and people are taking that as, they don't believe him. They, the misinformation coming from the national media, as always, says, they don't believe in him. Oh, they got to do this. And, on Get Up today on ESPN, they were talking about how, they don't, they don't know what they're doing with him, and he's a complete bust and everything like that. It's the same old BS that you hear. So we looked into some of these comments, and Brzezinski said to Alec Lewis of The Athletic, shout out to Alec, we're exploring every option that can be out there in regards to the QB position. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who is back with the San Francisco 49ers after the firing. Yeah, that was kind of that kind of just happened out of nowhere yesterday.
Really?
And he is with he's with the Niners. He's with the Coach Payne's Niners, and so that's where he's at.
He's back to taking orders from John Lynch, I guess. So.
That's right. Yeah, he wanted him back, and there he is, back with the Niners. And this is what KOC said. So let's, what, Voldy, since we have the capability, let's take a look.
Hey, there we go.
So KOC, pardon the ad. No, we don't care about Kelshi. Go away. So
shout out to heavy.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out, no free shout out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the timeline of a different place. Different place for us all than it was. Well, I think that's a pretty cut and dry comment of, hey, things have changed because he got injured and all this stuff that happened. And he said that, and I have a responsibility. We have a responsibility collectively as we put together this team to make sure that we use the data and that we have at this time and the experiences we have in regards to the best decision at QB. So some of the comments are mainly pretty good. I mean, there really isn't anything that I've sat back and said, okay, they don't believe him. They don't believe him. And my favorite person, Diana Rossini, even was saying today that they fully believe in the development of J.J. McCarthy. And I'm just like, wow, that was the first positive thing you've said.
I was going to say, that's bigger for her.
Yeah, that's bigger.
To say that.
Who would have thunk? So the question I asked to you and to the zoners too is what do you make of these comments? I mean, this doesn't change anything like, okay, JJ is going to be the guy, but they're going to look for a veteran presence, a backup that will be either ready or somebody to compete with him for the job. So, Voldy, what do you make of Brzezinski's and KOC's comments? What do you got?
Well, starting with Brzezinski's comments, of course, it only being 9 words, and it could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. One of them being, I have no idea what the hell we're going to do with J.J. McCarthy because I just got this job 6 weeks ago or however long it's been. I don't even know what a football player even looks like, let alone know how to draft and pick and all that, yada, yada, yada. While on the other side, he could also say, we're looking at our options, but we don't have any confidence in J.J. McCarthy. That's what I interpreted from Brzezinski's comments. And, of course, with KOC's comments, I definitely think that there is still some hope, or at least that KOC is just like, okay, we had our first season. It was what it was. You got hurt last year. You come in, you get hurt, you get banged around a little bit. Last 5 games of the season, are we not going to remember the fact that they went 5-0 and ended up winning with a winning record? But of course, everybody's going to sweep that under the rug because of the fact that, well, the teams that they played weren't very good, or the fact that they certainly tried to lose a couple games, but they did their best to obviously win and come out on the positive side of that. But I see it, those comments from Kevin O'Connell as hopefully a little bit of hope. And I look at the situation with McCarthy. He gets hurt, he's back, gets banged up a little bit more, struggles with play, and ultimately finds and figures it out in the last 5 games of the regular season. Is that not how a traditional rookie season works out in the NFL for a quarterback? just because we've become so blinded with these, outlandish rookie seasons from like a Cam Newton, a Jaden Daniels, all these guys that have come in and just lit the world on fire. That's not always the case. Do we have to bring up the times of, say, I don't know, maybe Josh Rosen when he was a consensus number 1 overall pick, and look at him now. I think he's bagging groceries somewhere, and not the Kurt Warner style bagging groceries. It's just been bad for his case. But for J.J. McCarthy, everybody was dogging on him, especially with just how he got thrown under the bus with every chance they could. But I view the season for J.J. McCarthy as a win, given the fact that he battled with injuries. He became a dad for the first time. Coming into the season, he wasn't even sure if he was going to be the starter, let alone a main fixture in the offense, and then just all the media circulation and swirling around trying to play to his downfall. This is going to be a big topic of conversation, of course, going from the draft to the offseason, and obviously through the draft and everything too, leading up to training camp. Somebody's got bedtime coming up here, so love you, buddy. Yeah. I just see it here. All the comments, they're not giving anything away, but at the same time, they're saying a lot of what could potentially happen. They just need to get that veteran quarterback. I wouldn't mind having Carson Wentz back if he wants to give it a go, or maybe a reunion with Kirk Cousins also.
Well, I look at these comments made by KOC and Rob Brzezinski, and this doesn't change my mindset of the Vikings are going to go in with J.J. McCarthy as their starter. My question is whether or not they are going to make that big splash. Rob Brzezinski, he's been with this organization 28 years. He's seen a lot of combines. He's seen a lot of things. And is he auditioning? I don't even know at this point because, look, I don't see it as a situation of we need to panic. Actually, it's more of a situation of the Vikings coaching staff really taking the reins on all of this. Because now, I know Kwesi did a lot of, got a lot of guys in free agency and everything like that. And, that's great, but we got to develop, right? We got to develop some guys. And Dallas Turner, I think, is a perfect example because, it took him till probably this season to really make that impact. And he did. When Grenard went down, he really stepped up. And hopefully he can do the same again. Now, a lot can change from now until we get to free agency time. And the combine will happen. They're going to look at some guys, at, I think we're at 18, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it would be a smart move for them to say, okay, let's prioritize who we're thinking in the draft and then kind of move on, get out of cap hell right now because that's where they're at. They're like $41 million over the cap. So you're going to have to restructure. You're going to have to cut some guys because, you got to kind of retool this whole thing, right? Now, the comments don't bother me. What bothers me is the speculation of all these quarterbacks that could be available. Matt Jones is obviously the name that's been floating around a lot. I wouldn't be against it. I don't know if it's just like if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket and say he's going to be the Sam Darnold, like it was for us. But you look at another situation like Kyler Murray or Kirk O'Chains, who will be a free agent as well. I don't have my chains with me, by the way. I had to leave those for a second there because, I'm not speculating. I'm not saying who's coming here, who's not. But I think this is a situation where they're probably making a decision on somebody we're not really expecting. And, people are like, oh, is it Burrow? Is it Burrow? And I think there's less of a chance of that happening. But I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to make a big swing. Now, I know Tua's name got thrown in here, and no, he's one concussion away from being out of the league and his career being over, so no thanks on that. Kyler, I just don't think he's a fit in this system. I just don't think he's had some shots at brilliance. I don't think he's coming here at all. But if I were the Vikings, I would look at Kirk O'Chains. I think they're going to consider it. I think they need to make clear to Kirk that this isn't a job that you're just going to be given. This has to be earned. And I think that might be the case in regards to that. Same thing with Mac Jones. Like, hey, we traded for you. Prove that you can be our number one guy. So there's a lot of intangibles, and we'll discuss this here and Infinity rankings. But I think this situation that the Vikings are in, and the comments that were made by Brzezinski and KOC, has pretty much solidified, like, okay, this is going to be a wild offseason. There's going to be some moves made that we're going to have to really take a hard look at and, speculate. It's all speculation right now, so a lot can happen from now until then. So, and then it sounds like for J.J. McCarthy, he is going to be with his QB guru coach or whatever in California, working on his, like they were saying, mechanics and all that stuff. Yep. And I hate hearing about it, but it's the case, So, yeah. Anyway, more on that in a second, because Infinity rankings, we've got a lot to talk about in regards to Infinity rankings. Now, everyone's saying what the Vikings should prioritize, what they shouldn't prioritize, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Let's dive deep into it. I've made a list of possibilities at each position. I did not put names now. Remember, I did not put names on this. We are going to wait a little bit longer until the free agency frenzy, which will be coming up here in is it 2 weeks already? Yeah, 2 weeks. So keep an eye on that. But Infinity rankings, I put all the positions. I'll explain all of them, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Let us know, because we got the Infinity Gauntlet on. Yes, it is ready. It is ready to roll. All the stones are in place, so I say we get it going with some Infinity rankings. Well, this just happened. Da-doom-sh. So, wow, that's the first time this has happened. So, my Infinity rankings file is not popping up. So,
what?
I don't even know what's going on. This is insane. I've never had this happen. But we're gonna tap dance here, because I think I can find it. And let's do this the right way.
While many have power rankings, none have captured them all. It's time for Matty C's Infinity Rankings.
All right, yes, Infinity Rankings is back. Yes, we got the video. I found it. I don't know what my computer's doing. Whatever. Anywho, Alex has tuned in, our guy Alex. He says the Vikings should trade Jefferson to the Broncos.
No. Stop it now.
No, absolutely not. Anywho, let's talk about these Infinity rankings for this time around. Yes, all the stones are in place. Let's take a look. I got to put this gauntlet down because I can't, multitask with holding that and talking. So let's go. The Infinity rankings. Dun, 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 this is what we got for Infinity rankings this go around. Now, as you can see, at number 6, I have running back. Mm-hmm. I am still kind of on the fence about this, because there was another position which I'll discuss maybe a little bit closer to the end here. But I think running back's very important. And Jordan Mason's done a great job. Aaron Jones has done a great job. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, Aaron Jones isn't getting any younger. And I don't doubt the ability of Aaron Jones for 1 second. But there is a running back out there by the name of Jeremiah Love, who has been linked to the Minnesota Vikings a couple times. He gives them that element of big plays, also in the receiving game as well. This dude can do a lot. Now, is he going to fall to them? I don't know. But I will say that I think that it is a need, because outside of those two, who have been great, by the way, especially when they decide to run the ball, but that's a whole different situation. Those two running backs, if they were to bring those guys back, I'm fine with it. That's okay. I think that's a good idea. But it's the cap situation. And I think Aaron Jones, unfortunately, might be the odd man out in this situation. But if they find a way to restructure or something like that, that'd be great. But I think running back is something to keep an eye on, because that could even move up a couple spaces if they do let go of one Aaron Jones. Number 5, I have tight end. Now, tight end, it all depends on what they do with TJ Hawkinson. And TJ Hawkinson hasn't been the same since his injury. I love TJ Hawkinson. I wouldn't doubt if TJ Hawkinson was fully, had a great season, if they kept him restructured or something. But it just seems to me that cap number is what holding the Vikings back right now in trying to acquire some other talent and, doing some things with the roster. So it depends on what they do with that. I think tight end is a very important thing to do. And if they do keep TJ Hawkinson, who's going to be tight end too? Josh Oliver, who's done a great job too. Maybe they rely more on him. I don't know. But we need a little bit more production from our tight end one. And I think that if the Vikings were able to find a way to find somebody in the draft, like the guy from Oregon, I forget his name, but
Sadiq?
Sadiq, thank you. Sadiq, I think, would be a perfect fit for this offense if they do move on from TJ Hawkinson. Number 4, safety. Look, I have no idea what the Vikings will do at that position because, look, I could see Dirty Harry coming back. You never know. You could see kind of like he was still making plays even at his age, and towards the end of the season he was fantastic. But I just think they need to get younger at some of these places, and I think that there's that guy, I think Theismann or something like that from Oregon, another Oregon player, is a really good safety. Maybe the Vikings draft him, even if Harry were to come back, and to kind of be that Harrison Smith type of person. They were hoping that with Lewis C, and well, we see how that turned out. UFL, shout out. And the issue is finding a young guy for that, for those safeties back there. And I think Theo Jackson, he's okay. Metellus will move around a lot too, but I think they need to figure the back end out if Harrison Smith decides I'm going to retire or not. So, number 3, corner. This is pretty high up, and I kind of realized that when I put this together. I'm like, man, this is kind of high up because, Isaiah Rodgers has been great. Byron Murphy has been good too. I get scared outside of those two because, yeah, there's some young talent that we have back there that have made plays in the past, but I just feel like they need another guy that's going to solidify the defensive back, another corner, like a I don't want to say more of a shutdown, but it would be nice if they could find somebody that could play the outside so that Murphy could slide inside, or maybe vice versa. Who knows? If they can play the outside, that'd be great. Isaiah Rodgers, is fantastic too. I just think if you add another guy within that rotation of DBs, I think it'd be pretty nice. So I think adding that, and you're going to get pressure from the front seven as well. So, I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. Maybe I do have this a little high, but we'll see how it goes. Number 2, center. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Center is a big, big need. Look, Ryan Kelly, I don't know if he's mulling retirement right now or if he's or if he thinks he can come back. Listen, man, I think we care more about your health than you trying to make a comeback, man. I mean, 3 concussions in one season. That's not good. It's not good. And you feel for the guy and everything, but they need to find a center that is going to help not only that offensive line, but J.J. McCarthy as well. And, just kind of being that presence and being simpatico, per se, for lack of a better word, during games. So center is the biggest one, I feel like, outside of number 1. But they need somebody to kind of be like a Jason Kelsey almost, just kind of be that. And there's a center out there, Linderbaum for the Ravens. I think that would be a perfect fit. But that's going to be a lot of money, and it sounds like the Ravens are trying to get him back. But we'll see what happens. Number 1, it's simple. Quarterback. Whether you put that at QB1, 2, it's QB1 and it's QB2 as well. I think you have enough options. Now the question is, this decision that you make has to be the right one. And I think this kind of looks at the situation being, we go out and get, like Lucas is saying, what Alex is saying is Vikings should bring in Kirk, Mac Jones, or Drew Lock. I agree with him. I think those are 3 guys that you can sit back and say, okay, yeah, I see that. That would make sense, right? And I think the number 1 out of those guys, and call me absurd and call me, just because you met the guy. Look, I think Kirk is a viable option. I really do. I think if you have him in this offense and you can trust him with some of these plays, and I know they had to rework their playbook because JJ couldn't get hit guys over the middle and stuff like that, whatever's been put out into the ether. But Kirk Cousins knows this offense. Kirk Cousins will execute the offense to the highest level. I think that would make Justin Jefferson happy for sure if something bad were to happen to J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to say this right now on this show. I'm going to say this as plain as day. I have not given up on J.J. McCarthy. And if you have given up on J.J. McCarthy, I ask you this. What is your plan B? What's your plan B? What should they do? What would you want the Vikings to do? So that is my question to I have not given up on J.J. McCarthy. I think you saw spurts of brilliance of when he was throwing the football. And yes, I did say brilliance because there were some nice throws he made. That touchdown to Jefferson against the Lions? Are you kidding me? He couldn't have put it in a better place. And against the Bears, I mean, there's just this improvising that he does in those games that you're like, oh my God, this is what we're talking about, the magic of it. And I'm not going to be like, he's kind of like Patrick Mahomes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's something there. And I've said this on the show plenty of times. There's something there. So I have not given up on him. I do like the 3 that you put out, Alex. I think those are viable options. I don't know if I'd add anybody. But here's the list. As you can see, quarterback number 1, center 2, corner 3, 4 safety, 5 tight end, and 6 running back. You could even maybe put fullbacks, and C.J. Ham is retired too. But, I think they'll find somebody that will be competent and kind of fill that role for CJ Ham. So the question I asked the zoners and Voldy is, what are your thoughts on the Infinity rankings? What do you got?
Yeah, I definitely like the offensive side for sure being as high as it can be, of course, with the need at the quarterback position. Not really much of the, need, or I should say the high concern for a quarterback. It's just about reinforcements and just getting the guy more and more confidence. Yes, of course, we do have a very competent coach, that being of course, obviously Kevin O'Connell, Josh McCown as well, but just need, obviously a guy that can plug and play in there. Veteran experiences, a lot of things that guys and teams are looking for nowadays that can definitely find something to be a little bit more offensive friendly and to read. The center position, definitely, because without a competent center, your quarterback is not going to be very confident or competent for that matter. That is definitely of a very high concern. Some of the back-ended pieces like you threw out there with tight end and in running back, some of them are fairly concerned when it comes to obviously age and health as wise too. And then just a defensive backfield that needs a retooling with some youth and, of course, some veteran experience in the mix there. Maybe guys that are still looking for maybe that second contract or that have played a few years and just need a fresh start somewhere else. Definitely aligned perfectly, I would say, with the big concerns coming here through the offseason, not just through the draft, but, of course, the free agency as well. There's definitely going to be a few guys out there for sure for the Vikings to take a serious look at.
Yeah, and I think, with this, with these rankings, this could change tomorrow. I mean, whatever could happen will happen. It's the A topic's going to be, quarterback, but I think after quarterback, you got to get a center. You have to. Corner, I think you have to look into a little bit just to add some youth, like you just said. Mm-hmm. And, safety, tight end, the whole deal. Look, this is a very big offseason for Kevin O'Connell and his coaching staff because you don't have Kwesi. You pretty much kind of, everyone wasn't on the same page. Some people didn't like Kwesi. Some people didn't like that he was not fully a football guy and whatnot. But the one guy that they do respect, Rob Brzezinski. And I think that carries a lot of positive vibes into this. I think this coaching staff can get it right. If they don't, well, people are going to lose their jobs. That's the deal. So this is a very big offseason. I just think the positions of need are very crucial right now. So. Alex says McCarthy will be nice. Oh, we appreciate that. The boy needs more time to develop. Not everyone can be like Bo Nix. Oh, yeah. Well, now here's my question. Here's my question to Alex. Is Bo Nix have an injury issue? And are they on the same page, Sean Payton and Bo Nix? It did not seem like they were, especially with that injury. I just got to ask you that because apparently he did not like, Bo Nix did not like him going out and saying a lot of stuff about his injury. So a lot to be said with that. So zoners, let us know what you think on this list. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Would you add some guys? Would you not add some other guys or other positions as well? Just let us know in the chats or later on. We will be here to answer everything in regards to that. So, another great Infinity rankings. I'm glad we could find the video. I don't know what happened, but that's just kind of how it is. Yes, boom. That's all I got to say. Boom, like Lucas has said here. So, all right, ARA. We got a stacked ARA tonight, ladies and gentlemen. JoeRyan Scratched. He's getting an MRI on his back, right? I think it was his back, right, Voldy, if I'm not mistaken?
Correct.
Yep. So, keeps getting worse. The Bears headed to Indiana? What? They're not the Chicago Bears. They're the Indiana Bears? I don't know. Shedeursanders and Deshaun Watson. Are they going to be in competition when training camp or mini camp or whatever camp you want to put at starts? So, who knows? I don't know. I got some thoughts on that. Sean Payton gives up his play calling duties. And speaking of Sean Payton, let's see what he's got. Sean the Goat Payton and Knicks are good. New OC will work wonders. Yeah.
We'll see.
That remains to be seen. They do have a good defense. I do have to give them that. I got to give them props where props are due. Their defense is solid. And then the UFL, some new rule changes for field goals, punts for 2026. I got thoughts on that. Voldy's got some thoughts on that. So I say we get it going. What's up? Observed or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, starting in the world of Major League Baseball, teams getting underway with spring training from the tail end of last week into the weekend, and Twins territory held their collective breaths on Saturday as JoeRyan was scratched from his start. This coming days after the announcement that Twins ace Pablo Lopez will be having Tommy John surgery and out for the rest of the season before it even started for Pablo Lopez. Now, it was revealed in an MRI that JoeRyan just has inflammation in his lower back and thus will be resting for the next few days, as it was put out by Jeremy Zoll, the Twins general manager. Now, the way things are going here for the Twins and their starting rotation, as they have fallen to the wayside most recently, of course, with Ryne being out for the next few days, but is expected to be ready for opening day. Now, just his status of whether he'll be on for Team USA for the World Baseball Classic still up in the air. Is it absurd or approved if Ryan's back issues do continue? And of course, with the way the Twins are, knock on wood here, they most likely will continue. Will the Twins make a move for a starting pitcher for their rotation?
You know, you'd think after the Lopez injury, you'd be hearing more reports of them being active and trying to find guys. I've heard pretty much close to nothing in regards to that. I've heard zilch. Now, these promises that they keep making and saying that, we're going to, try to do everything we can to spend money and everything like that, I haven't seen that. And we're still waiting. We're still getting closer and closer to opening day. With JoeRyan having that issue in spring training, you don't have anybody after him. I'm sorry. You have Bailey Ober, who didn't have a great season last year. You have Simeon Woods Richardson, who I still think needs some time. Is Zebby Matthews going to be brought up? I don't know. The pitching staff doesn't look good. And outside of like Buxton, Lewis, Keschel, whatever you want to call it, they don't really have anybody outside of those guys. I mean, this is a big concern. And they talk about preaching all this stuff about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Then do it. Do it. I mean, this is the issue. This was a warning, I feel like, and it's not like, Joe and Ryne intended to do this or, whatever, what have you. This was a warning to say, listen, if he goes down, you guys don't have anybody that's competent that can, give you a good chance at winning games. JoeRyan's your best pitcher right now. Starting pitcher, I should say. And you have the bullpen. It's mainly left-handed pitchers, too. I mean, who are you going to bring into this rotation? There are guys sitting out there right now that you can go and get. Why aren't you pushing that right now? So, it all comes back to the whole situation of them, saying one thing and then not doing it after them saying it. So, I'm I'm going to be a little bit more positive on this, Voldy. If the back issues continue, they will be forced to get somebody. Because, listen, you cannot sit back and say, we're going to have all these promotions and, $2 beers before Friday, Saturday games and free ice cream on Sundays and this and that. You can't have all that and then have a minor league team play out on that field. You guys are already in the hole right now. Don't make yourselves in the hole. So I'll be positive with it, Voldy. I think they will. Even with the back soreness and everything like that, you have no choice. You really have no choice at this point. Get out the frickin' pocketbook, Tom Pohlad, and do what you've been promising these fans. It's ridiculous at this point. So Giolito, I think, is out there. Our guy on the social media, Trevor Bauer's out there as well. Just saying. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. And God, nothing is working for me today. I wish. Gosh, it's not doing the stamp of approval. I'm disappointed.
That kind of weak. This
it really
week
is.
has just been kind of weird, and it kind of sucks. Even though greatest hockey country in the world, and that's a fact.
That's right. So, anywho, Voldy, what are your thoughts on this situation?
I could. There's a lot of ways the Twins could go about this. I think one thing will certainly be something to keep eye on is how Taj Bradley is going to do with Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. If he does fairly well for them, I know he is certainly going to be in the mix for them, maybe in some long, I shouldn't say long starts, but if he gets a bunch of innings for, of course, Team Mexico, he could very well find himself slotted into the rotation as that fifth guy for them too. But right now, I mean, it's just a revolving door at this point. You thought we'd be solidified with Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan at the top. But if Ryan's back does continue to bug him, I would certainly say he is definitely going to be. I would take him out of the World Baseball Classic, honestly. If I'm him and the Twins, I'm pulling him out as much as he wants to be a part of it, for sure.
Hold that thought, because I just saw something before the show. Aaron Gleeman says Taj Bradley has decided to opt out of pitching for Mexico in the World Baseball Classic and remain in Twins camp. So there you go.
Interesting. So probably eat up some more innings there to try to win himself a little bit more favor. So that'll slide a few more things too.
Right.
You throw that out there. Now, I think that's going to be a big misnomer as well. I think right now, whoever he is that isn't, a positional player for the Twins, I say pull them out of the World Baseball Classic as much as they want to. And I love the World Baseball Classic for sure. And 1 week away from the first games as well. Fun fact on that too. I don't think the Twins are going to make a move. As sad as it is to say, and I really hope that they would, I just think right now they're in a weird position right now where they let go of their GM before the start of spring training. They've got new ownership that's never done anything with the ball club to begin with. And there's just a lot of question marks with a brand new manager there too. It just doesn't look good. And I feel like them drastically going out and making a move is not their MO right now. And if they go out and do make a drastic move too, sometimes you just got to jump into the deep end and see what happens. And right now, the Twins are staying in the kiddie pool right now. Might not even dip a toe in the water to see what the kiddie pool's all about.
I love it. Dip a toe in the kiddie pool. That's good. There are so many issues right now, and Tom Pohlad, I think, is talking out of both sides of his mouth, and this is you're going to be forced to. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and if they don't, well, good luck trying to sell tickets again. I mean, seriously, this team's not going to be what you think it will be. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, getting a push in the right direction in the National Football League could quite possibly be the Gary Bears, formerly the Chicago Bears, as Indiana lawmakers in the State House Ways and Means Committee unanimously approved an amendment to Indiana State Bill 27 by a vote of 24-0 this past Thursday that would clear a path for the Chicago Bears to build a stadium in Hammond, Indiana. Now, the bill would create the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority with the power to issue bonds, acquire land, and finance construction for the stadium. So this a much more powerful step in moving in the right direction to quite possibly see one of the oldest NFL franchises leave the state of Illinois. Of course, conversations over the last few years of the Chicago Bears moving to Arlington Park and thus not leaving Chicago proper to the outskirts, and of course moving from one location to the next. In fact, the location that they were talking about moving to, Arlington Heights, I think, or something along those lines, is like 32 minutes away from from Soldier Field, while moving to Gary, Indiana is only like 29 minutes away, apparently. So it's literally closer to play in Indiana as opposed to playing in Chicago and the outskirts of Illinois as a whole. Now, of course, these conversations taking place could quite possibly be something that ends a long-standing, of course, tradition with the Chicago Bears playing in, of course, in Chicago as well. Arlington Heights, there you go. Arlington Heights there, as they did purchase of course, a 326-acre property that they did purchase for that to quite possibly move from Soldier Field to that area with the construction of a field. But is it absurd or approved with this passing of the legislation in the state of Indiana? Will the Bears make the move to Indiana?
You know, I really haven't had the chance to ask Mitch how he's feeling about all this. And, this has gotten to a point where it's like, I mean, they can't, play in Indiana, can they? It's starting to look like it probably will happen. And I just think that the Bears have to, in whatever whatever the disconnect is, you got to find a way to keep it in Chicago. I mean, if you have it in a different state, that just doesn't make sense. That's not, that's not Chicago Bears. It's Indiana Bears, and that'll be the running joke, per se. And Indiana's already got a team, right? So I just think they got to find common ground in order to make sure that it is Chicago Bears, not in they're playing in Indiana, but it's only 30 minutes away and everything like that. Oh man, this one. And again, it'd be kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, because it is our division rival, and it'd be kind of funny if they had to move to. Oh gosh, what do you call it again? It has really been a long day. Over to Indiana, to that part. But Arlington Heights, it seems like that is the possibility there. I think that they'll try to find a way to get this all figured out. But right now, I don't see how you can avoid it, because it's starting to look more and more likely like they would be playing in Indiana. I would say I don't think it's confirmed yet, so I'm going to say absurd, just because I think they're going to try to find a loophole to make sure that it is in Illinois, because there's going to be a lot of upset Bears fans if it's in Indiana. So, I'll say absurd. So, Voldy, what do you got?
If we're going to live in a world where quite possibly the Kansas City Chiefs move from Missouri to Kansas, I definitely don't put it out of the realm of possibility that the Bears move to Indiana. But I think this is all a power play at this point. That they threw out the fact that, hey, we can move to Gary, Indiana. It's a little bit closer and it's across state lines. Maybe get a tax break. They'll build us a stadium easily. And you would think that maybe city legislation and city lawmakers as well would be like, all right, what do you want? Let's cut a deal. You can build your own stadium, yada, 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 all this BS too, because it's all a power play at the end of the day here for the Chicago Bears franchise to say, look, you don't give us what we want, we'll move to Indiana and they'll give us everything we want, cut and dry, no problem. We'll be happy with it. Enjoy your nice empty stadium without an NFL franchise there. Well, they'll love us over in Indiana. And I think that is the route that we're probably going to go to before anything drastic should happen as well. Them moving to Indiana, I don't think that they will, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I'm going to say it's absurd. I don't think the Bears are going to move to Indiana.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot. Like they're going to have to just give up or something. Like, oh, you know what? We're just going to give up since they're not letting us. No, they're gonna fight like hell to make sure that they're playing in the state of Illinois. But it's still a possibility, like we both said. So we'll see what Mitch says too. All right, next one, Voldy.
One of the big comments coming out of the early days of the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, of course, does include now new general manager Andrew Berry for the Cleveland Browns and the timetable for a decision at starting quarterback that will also include former starting quarterback for the Browns, Deshaun Watson, coming off the re-rupture of his Achilles last season and, of course, being missed out for that time and previously with, of course, him rupturing his Achilles from a season and a half ago. He will be in the mix along with shedeursanders, who did start the last 7 games of the regular season for the Cleveland Browns, and also with new head coach Todd Monken in the mix, who is not fully ready to commit to Sanders as the starting quarterback, nor Deshaun Watson on top of it. Oh yeah, let's not also forget Dillon Gabriel is also in that quarterback room also for the Cleveland Browns, but Andrew Berry, I should say, did also make mention that they will be continuing their search for a quarterback in the offseason as well. And we continue on with the vicious cycle of quarterbacks in Cleveland. Of course, with the pedigree that Deshaun Watson has put out in previous years when fully healthy, when off-the-field issues have not grown significant enough to overshadow his play on the field. We saw something out of Gabriel and, of course, shedeursanders last season, with Shedeur getting the bulk of the starts in the back half of the season. Is it absurd or proof? Will Deshaun Watson surpass shedeursanders and Dillon Gabriel as quarterback 1 for the upcoming NFL season, week 1?
Let me make this easy. No. Listen, this man has put himself in a position of almost no return. And I say this because injuries, the controversy that surrounded him, it's hard to get out of that situation. Now, he was not good before his injury, and I don't wish injuries upon, anybody for that matter and whatnot. But Deshaun Watson has been given the opportunity to try and right the ship after the whole controversy. He has not done so. I think he's married now or something like that, and maybe there can be a reclamation project or something like that. I don't see it with him. It seems like every time they pan over to him when he's on the sidelines, he looks like he's just disinterested. He looks dejected, and you still you kind of have some sympathy, but at the same time, I don't, because of that whole situation. I just don't think right now you can go and say, okay, he'll be good to go, and if he plays well, look, if he plays well in training camp and he's able to surpass those guys, all power to him. Maybe the different system will help. I don't know. But again, Kevin Stefanski, has worked with a lot of quarterbacks in Cleveland. He's worked with quarterbacks here in Minnesota. he just needed the right guy, and I just don't think the guys that they drafted were the right fit. Now, I just think Deshaun Watson I think he's a shell of himself. I mean, he just looked awful ever since he got to Cleveland. So in regards to Sanders, I mean, look, he's your best option right now on that roster. You have Dylan Gabriel, who, he had some promise, but it didn't really translate as the year went on. Whereas Shedeur kind of gave you a little bit more, I feel like a little bit more optimism is where I'd put it. So, no, I think it's absurd. I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be QB1 right away. And it seems like Alex is in agreement here too. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Give Sanders true opportunity. The guy can ball. He definitely showed some things, I will say. But, the Browns have their whole O-line hitting free agency. That is a very good point. Whoever is QB will be running for his life. That's a good point. So, and that situation, too, I mean, what do you do there? So, if you don't have a good O-line, and like we've known, if you don't have a good O-line, you're in trouble. So, no, he's not. It'll be Shedeur, I think, if they bring someone in, but it's a mess over there. If you think it's a mess in Minnesota, look at Cleveland. Yeah. Good Lord. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, the coaching staff and, of course, the general manager have no obligation or relationship with Shedeur, and Deshaun also on top of it, just because new head coach, general manager there too, of course, decisions that were made with the previous regimes and how that benefits them. We're in a kind of prove it or lose it kind of situation right now with both quarterbacks. But I feel with Shedeur, you come into this offseason because obviously last offseason it was you got drafted, rookie OTAs, just trying to find my way onto the roster, going into the year as the third quarterback, then work my way up as the backup, then ultimately get the start. And right now, you come into it and you got to act as if you are going to be the starter week one. And I feel like then you give him a full offseason with OTAs, with training camp, and of course, you get the preseason and also week one. I feel like that's going to be another big step forward for Shedeur to be the number one quarterback for Cleveland and hopefully turn things around to at least get a little bit more consistency for them. I think Deshaun's still a good enough piece to be considerate if something should happen or maybe something's not clicking. It's not looking good for Shedeur. We still have Deshaun Watson. Again, he in his younger years, of course, those good years in Houston that he did have, he was an MVP type caliber player, and it all just went drastically downhill for him in a very short amount of time. On top of it, of course, the injuries certainly didn't help. But I feel coming into week one of the season, Shedeur will be the starter, so I think it's absurd. I don't think Deshaun, a lot of time missed for him with the injuries also just piling up for him in the last season and a half. So I think Shedeur is going to be the one to get the go for week one.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly on that for sure. All right, let's get to Alex and Sean Payton. What do you got, Voldy?
So now, other news coming out of Indianapolis with the early days of the scouting combine. Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton made a significant move in that he will be relieving himself of play calling duties on the offensive side and handing the reins over to newly named offensive coordinator Davis Webb. And of course, Sean Payton has been a primary head coach and also offensive play caller since 2006 when he was picked up by the New Orleans Saints. And of course, previous years on top of it as an offensive-minded coach with numerous teams, including his time with the Dallas Cowboys previously. Now, of course, that being of significant of note with the unfortunate timing that the Broncos did have in the AFC Championship game, losing, of course, their starting quarterback Bo Nix to an ankle injury and playing backup Jarrett Stidham things couldn't fully get on track offensively, and maybe recognizing something that could be a significant note coming into the 2026 season. Now, of course, we know the track record with Sean Payton. We don't need to go in further depth than that, but with now Davis Webb being named the offensive coordinator and, of course, getting the full reins as the play caller, is it absurd or approved? Will the Broncos offense be better with Davis Webb calling plays for the Broncos?
You know, Alex has said in this chat, he says, Sean the GOAT Payton. What's he the GOAT of? Tell me. What's he the GOAT of? He's the GOAT of cheating. I can tell you that much. But let's put it like this. This team is built to be a very good defensive team. Patrick Surtain, their pass rush is solid. Their linebackers are good. Safeties. Hufanga is a nice player too. But their offense is, I really think, has emerged. Bo Nix has, to his credit, has done very well. They keep speaking very highly of Davis Webb, and that they wouldn't have made this move if it weren't for how well he has, put Bo Nix and has crafted this offense around him, and him giving up play calling duties is kind of shocking. I'm not going to lie, because he's kind of been known as this offensive guru, which, to some of the credit, he definitely has had very successful offenses. I'm not disputing that. I look at this and say that's a lot of faith into somebody for first year and everything. So my question is, and I asked this of Alex, and I'll ask this of you, Voldy, if things go south, how many games do you give it before Sean Payton decides to take over? Probably it'll only take one, right?
Maybe. It
might take one or two.
I'd say like 4, honestly. If
All
they
right,
get out
fair.
to like
That's
1-3, 0-4, or something like that, I think Sean's going to be like, all right, let's give me the play sheet. You go sit down. Go sit down.
Oh, man. Oh, God. So let's see what he's got to say here, and then I'll go throw it over to you. But, or wait, no. God, why is this not catching up? I don't know why. Webb is an offensive mastermind. I'm so excited. Payton's offense is great. The only complaint are the gosh darn screens. Yeah, I did kind of notice that. They did do a lot of that.
Got some dynamic players.
Go to football. No, he's not. He's not the go to football. He baited the Vikings in taking McCarthy. In my honest opinion, I don't actually believe it. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. But look, he just says these things. The thing is Sean Payton just says these things because, he thinks he's sly and everything. But everyone knows he's a fraud. And, people, he said some things and people got called out. Or people have called him out, and he's said virtually nothing, or he backs into a corner and is like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, sure. In addition, I also think the Broncos need more wide receiver tight end options. The wide receiver Broncos usually drop the ball all the time. I like Cortland Sutton. I think he's all right. Mims, I don't know, really didn't have a great one. Franklin, I think, has emerged. I think you kind of need a little bit more star power, maybe. That's probably what you're leaning towards. So, I'm gonna surprise some people. I'm gonna say stamp of approval. I think Webb's gonna show people why Sean Payton's old news. So he might be an offensive mastermind. Who knows? I'll give him my stamp of approval. Why the heck not? As long as it's not Sean Payton. Anyway, Voldy, what do you think?
It's wild to think that Davis Webb was playing pro football 5 years ago. when he was with the Buffalo Bills and has just kind of risen through the ranks of the Sean Payton, coaching staff as well, all the way up to, of course, all the way up to offensive coordinator here with the Denver Broncos. There are a few questions that they do need to answer on the offensive side. Definitely need a little bit more reinforcements on the receivers. Could use an actual tight end too. That would be helpful. They just kind of make it up as they go. Running back room seems to be pretty stacked for them. Not too worried about that. But yeah, definitely get some help here for Bo Nix if that ankle's going to be ready to go come week 1, 2. But I feel like maybe even for a first-time play caller, they don't know what's not going to work until it actually happens, honestly. And they could maybe see a little bit more of a bump here as, maybe Payton needs to focus more on other things, because obviously his whole coaching time, he has been that offensive play caller while also being head coach. So maybe that'll shore up a few things for him, and maybe he'll find himself to improve on a couple of different areas. Will they be better, though, is the thing. They need a little bit more help work-wise as well, with just some of the weapons too. But I think, you know what? I think they'll be a little bit better. I think they'll be in stronger consideration for sure in that AFC. And I say stamp of approval. I think the Broncos offense will get a for sure boost in many different ways.
Seeing if I can get this graphic to work. No! Dang it. All right. Alex, as I put up, he said, Broncos room is like Green Bay's wide receiver room. Voldy, you like this. A bunch of wide receiver 2s, no true wide receiver 1. So some of those guys are the 2s, and someone's got to be the 1. That's their new thing now. I love it. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I got to admit, there are some positive things with it. I know I hate Sean Payton. I hate him too. But you know what? They're a pretty good team. I have to admit that. All right. Last one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of spring football. The United Football League, with new teams and new locations, is also going to be putting more effort into getting offenses turbocharged for the 2026 season. Now, a few significant rule changes will include that awarding 60-yard plus field goals of 4 points instead of the traditional 3 points for a field goal made. So anything above 60 yards and more will be awarded 4 points instead of 3. And punts will now be banned inside the opponent's 50-yard line. So once you make it past midfield into your opponent's end of the field, you either have to go for it or you will not do anything of the sort. So there will be no punts inside the opponent's 50-yard line. Now that too being the significant notes, but other things will also include the banning of the tush-push short yardage play, which is drawn a lot of feedback, and of course other things as well. Now the of those significant rule changes and adjustments for the 2026 UFL season, which has seen coaches move from one franchise to another. Teams also getting moved from one place to another as well. With all these rule changes, is it absurd or proof? Now, we've seen some of these rules in the UFL, XFL, USFL make their way to the NFL years down the road. Is it absurd or proof? Will we see some of these rule changes, whether it be more points for longer field goals, banning of the tush push, and some of these other rule changes for the upcoming season? Will these rules make their way to the NFL within the next 3 years?
Well, the first one that I'm thinking of, obviously the big ones are the tush push. I mean, I kind of take the stance on that one as probably, if not this season, maybe next season it would probably be banned. And whether how you feel about it, I just think that's there's a lot of coaches and executives that are very against it for sure, and I think they're going to try and make sure that doesn't go another season, but I don't know, stranger things have happened. The field goal thing, awarding 4 points, I think that's fine for the UFL. I don't think it's great for the NFL. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, I know it's a long field goal and everything. It's like, well, that could be a difference in the game and everything like that. And it's like, I mean, it's very rare either way. And I like the way the NFL has. I doubt that they're going to do that in the NFL to put it at, if you make a 60-yarder, you get 4 points. No, it's fine for the UFL. Like that doesn't really peeve me. The one that kind of does is the punts. Listen, you have a decision to make, and if you're past that, did you say past the 50? If you're past the 50, you have to go for it? Okay.
Correct. If you make it past the 50-yard line, you can't punt the ball inside your opponent's, end of the field.
Look, you have that decision. Like, you don't need to make it like, now we have to go for it. And it's like, look, that should be your decision, whether you want to punt it or you don't want to punt it. Maybe you put it at the 40 or something like. I just think I think that one's absurd. I don't like that one. I just think, having punts and everything like that is part of the game. I mean, it's not something that you should change and be like, no, you got to go for it. You have to go for it. It's like, not really. I mean, if they want to punt, they can punt. You never know what could happen. Like, returner muffs it. You guys get on the ball. There you go. Look, punting is part of the game. Like, that won't happen in the NFL. I doubt that one will happen in the NFL. But the tush push, I think, is going to be banned. So to answer your question, it's only going to be that one rule, I think. I doubt with the field goal one. But the punting, I don't like it. That's just my personal preference. I'm kind of old school like that, like, with the punting part of it, because, I like punt returns, man, for touchdowns. You kidding me?
Absolutely.
It's great. So, I think it's absurd on the 2, stamp approval for the 1. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Well, just another quick note as well, and a rule change coming up for the season, that they are going to be adopting also the 1 foot in bounds for a completed catch too. Just aligning more with college football, and they did use it back in the XFL when they initially returned it back in 2020. Now, of these rule changes coming up, long field goals, that's great and everything, but it's still got to be 3 points. So we're going to start changing the scoring out of things. Then 50, 60-yard plus touchdowns got to be worth 8 points before a field goal try, or the extra point try or whatever, or just make it the automatic 7 and forget the kicking of the extra point. It's getting ridiculous now how we're going to try and change scoring as well. But I think the one thing is definitely the tush push for sure. That's definitely a rule I could definitely see within the next 3 years get banned by the NFL, or at least higher consideration of maybe say, hey, let's, do away with this. And then you also throw into, the punting inside the 50. We see enough teams go for it on 4th down on the regular now that punting is kind of, being slowly phased out. It just all depends on obviously the situation and everything. But enough teams right now go for it on 4th down that I don't think that saying that if you're stuck at your opponent's 45-yard line, you don't have a field goal kicker that can make it from 65, that you're not going to, you're going to punt the ball away. But there's definitely strong consideration for sure that teams are going to go for it on 4th down more. And just the way punters are being utilized nowadays for other things too, some on kickoffs, some with even punt fakes also on top of it, and other matters too, that I feel like saying that you can't punt inside the opponent's 50, once you're inside the 50, making that actual rule is actually going to change much of anything. I think definitely the tush push within the next 3 years, I can definitely see it getting banned for sure. So I'll give my stamp of approval for that, but the other 2, I don't think are going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't see it. Voldy, I do have to bring up one more thing here before we move on to Shield Shoutouts. So just give me 1 second here. Hopefully everything's working. Oh, look at that. That's it. We do have some breaking news. This was
I like it.
posted. This was posted 2 hours ago. This is some breaking news out of NBC. NBC revamps top NFL pregame show. Interesting. But
Okay.
the biggest one out of this, Tony Dungy, likely out after 17 years with NBC.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I gotta call who's gonna replace him. I got a call already. I know who's
Who
gonna
do you
be.
got?
Mike Tomlin.
Ooh, now that
Tomlin. They've had a lot of luck with former Steelers being as part of pregame coverage there for NBC. I think Tomlin would be a great mouthpiece for Sunday Night Football.
You know what? This is probably an unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
the NBC pregame show, not as good.
Yeah,
It's
there's
really
too many
fallen
people.
off. I
There's too
like
many people now.
Yeah, there's two. Yes, exactly. Spot on.
Way too many people.
Too many people. Jack Collinsworth, and you have
Collinsworth's okay. Then you've got Rodney Harrison.
Rodney
You've got the
Harrison.
guys
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Rodney Harrison, Dungy, Collinsworth at the game, but back
Florio.
in the studio, you got Florio,
But
you got,
he's kind of a
you
pain
got,
in the ass.
You got Chris Sims, you've got Devin McCourty,
Jason
I think
Garrett.
Jason Garrett, then Maria Taylor too. It's way too many people. Way too
Dan
many
Patrick, Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison. That's all you need. That's
the
all
OG.
you need. And I know Dan Patrick moved on and whatnot. And Tirico
And
was
then
I like Tirico when he was with it. But I like Tirico as more play by play and whatnot. Shout out to him, by the way. After the whole gold medal stuff, and Voldy, I think you put this on your socials, which was well said by Mike Tirico.
I love Mike Tirico.
He's
Mike
so
Tirico and John Gruden on Monday Night Football. That is my Monday Night Football duo, and no one is ever going to take that from me.
I'll tell you what, man. That's pretty good. I think we got to get Gruden back on the show, man. That's all another situation. But, yeah, I might be an unpopular opinion. Not a fan of it. I really am not a fan of it. The broadcast in general, I really like. I think they do a lot of cool stuff. The pregame, not great. Not great, Bob.
I usually skip pregame anyway, so.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough.
Usually
And
watch
they're all
like
against the
last
Vikings,
few
and Florio's on there. Anything with the Vikings, all negative. All negative.
To hell
Vikings
with them.
haters, including Maria Taylor, by the way. Viking haters. So anyway, that'll do it for A-Ray. Great job, as always. Voldy. Shield shoutouts. We got some Shield shoutouts to get to tonight, and there was a lot of things, or a lot of people that have passed on and whatnot that I'm glad Voldy put on here and whatnot. Very sad, especially for if you're Minnesota Vikings and whatnot. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, sadly, a somber start to Shield shoutouts this week, and our thoughts and prayers going out to, of course, the family and friends of former Minnesota Vikings, Rondalemoore and RonyellWhitaker, as well, as they sadly passed away here this week. Of course, Rondalemoore, unfortunately, we never got the true chance to see his potential in a Vikings uniform. His first touch in a preseason game, suffered a significant leg injury, thus ending his career as well. And, of course, him battling through mental health issues as well. On top of it, sadly did lose his battle with mental health here this week. And sadly, also, RonyellWhitaker did also pass away this week. Also, a significant loss in the world of professional sports and one of the more iconic moments in Major League Baseball history. Bill Mazerowski, the glove for the Pittsburgh Pirates, famously winning the World Series in Game 7, the 1960 World Series against the New York Yankees, sadly passed away as well. And fun fact on top of that, that game-winning home run that he hit in Game 7 from Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, behind the plate for the New York Yankees, catching a John Blanchard. Now, believe it or not, that name sounds familiar to at least the pair of us and maybe a few of those tuning in tonight. John Blanchard, the father of former Southwest Minnesota baseball coach, Paul Blanchard. Yes, believe it or not, a significant moment in the world of sports and a little bit of connection on top of it. Yes, Skip's dad was behind the play for the Mazerowski home run in Game 7. But of some much more lighter news as well, of course, a banner season that has been continues on, and back-to-back West Division Player of the Week awards belonging to Ty Smith after another record-setting performance that he broke the single-season points record for the Granite City Lumberjacks, as he did pass, of course, Sean Kenny for the single-season points record, and is also still within reach and of range the all-time points record in franchise history in a career that has only spanned this season and last season on top of it. So Ty Smith, another great weekend that he had, and looking for more with a couple big games coming up this weekend. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Yes, well said, Voldy. Congratulations to Ty Smith, and rest in peace to all those guys. The RondaleMoore one, very, wild. Very sad. I really thought he would be, a key piece to the Vikings' success this season, and obviously that preseason game. I remember watching that play, and I thought everything was fine, but no, was it a torn ACL, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. It was pretty significant, Right.
And I just think he had some bad breaks and whatnot, and, and again, with mental health, like, you really feel for him and his family, his friends, and everything like that. And if you're down and feeling like that, talk to somebody and whatnot. I mean, that's the it's just very sad. And he had a bright future and whatnot. And and RonyellWhitaker, I remember that name being thrown around too, and Mazerowski, and it's been a rough week. To say the least. So, anywho, great job with Shield Shoutouts as always, Voldy. Guys, we got the gold and everything like that. We're stoked about it. Like I said with Mike Tirico too. I mean, if you haven't had the chance to look at the post game, like his comments after the game about uniting country and them, winning the gold after 46 years for the men's, and obviously with USA women's winning gold as well. Definitely take a look at it. He puts it perfectly, and that's why he's the best around. He's the best around right now. So, guys, we got merch. We got plenty of merch. I know you're probably looking at this one and you're like, oh, man, did I miss out on those? Yeah, you might have, but you never know. You never know if Maddie C's like, I'm kind of feeling like you guys can. But if you're like, screw it, I'm kind of digging some of these other hats. Take a look. We got the Gopher one. We got the Wild one. We got the Viking one. And not only that, guys, we've got some other ones as well. We got the Wolves one. And then we got the Twins one and/or whatever else you want to put this one as. Twins colors, Vikings colors, Wolves colors, a lot of colors for the hats. We got the sweatpants as well, starting to get low on those, so make sure you get those as soon as possible. Got them stickers, we got them shirts, we've got plenty of stuff. The Quarterzips as well. I know it's still a little bit chilly, but, we're getting closer and closer to the summertime, which is kind of crazy in itself, or springtime, which is kind of crazy in itself. One other thing, we do have one more thing that I think, we talked about it before, but Alex reminds us, shout out to Money Munson for becoming a father. Yes! I told him, I said in a snap, Voldy, I said, you better have that onesie ready, that T-Wolves onesie ready for sure. So he laughed and said, thank you and everything like that. So congrats to them, yes, as well. Just remember Ricky Rubio. Don't believe anything your dad says about Ricky Rubio. Just kidding. Anyway, thank you to National Fleet Graphic. And W2 Performance will retell at www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check out TLS Performance, our guy Troy Stoudemire Jr. as well. Popcorn Bucket List, Nick Dahlhoff, and Rhino Myhrberg and Omni Entertainment. They've got everything in regard. The Oscars are coming up, guys. So they're going to have full analysis and everything like that on the top movies of this past year and movies that are out now too. So make sure you check everything out with them. Omni Entertainment, you know the deal. Ricky Rubio Munson. Yeah, if he names his kid Ricky Rubio, I'm gonna shake my head. It's just come on, man. Figure it out. So, anywho, but congrats, nonetheless. All right, so that'll do it for episode 274. Appreciate you guys tuning in. The gold, just remember, before we head off, Canada, the 2s, USA, the 1s. Yes! In hockey, acknowledge USA hockey. We are on top of the world. We're on top of the world, men's and women's. Just saying. So, without further ado, remember, as always, folks, keep it the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.